lie about that? Like, you lie about something that's important, not something like this.
Well, she said the decision to replace her was made by 1 or 2 AI dummies at higher ups at Saber. Additionally, she claims Saber wanted to use AI because gamers love new tech, so using the tool would be great marketing, which is so out of touch it would make an Xbox exec blanch. Oh,
okay, but what did Saber say?
In a statement to PC Gamer, Saber denied the allegations but confirmed the game does use generative AI in other areas.
Why would she lie about that? I mean, if you're gonna lie,
it's kind of a weird,
It's a weird thing to lie about,
At the time of writing, there is no AI disclosure on the game's Steam page. Neither Saber nor Unengine have replaced any writers with AI for rideshare or any other game. In fact, Saber's staff of writers has tripled since 2023. Rideshare's story was written entirely by real people. The game will also feature an experimental free ride mode that by necessity incorporates AI as the number of passengers in the game is infinite. We are firm believers in using AI tools to improve or enhance gameplay experiences and improve NPC behavior, as we have done since Saber was founded in 2001.
Okay, well that makes sense. If you have like always run passengers and you're going to use AI to generate the conversations depending on what you choose, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's probably the best way to do it.
But as it happens,
this is interesting though. It says the industry has continued to contract. Saber continues to hire. None of our 3,000 plus employees have to worry about being replaced with AI. But they're like, it's a bizarre rebuttal because it denies replacing writers with AI, but subsequently confirms it has used the tool to create infinite amounts of passengers, which implies it's being used to come up with text, voices, or both to sustain the free ride mode.
Enemy targets up ahead.
Here's the thing, I think they probably did fire, but they might have told her that was why, but that might have been not have been the actual reason why they got rid of her and they hired other people. It could be a case of you were a pain in the ass and they fired you and said it was because of AI.
I think it's more either that. Well, she said she thought she was being replaced with AI. I think.
Oh, she doesn't even know she was replaced with AI?
She's saying she thinks she was. Yes. They wouldn't tell her that. I didn't even see this.
Fired. No, I think it makes sense to me is because I was going to be replaced with AI. But because I mean, it doesn't make sense to lie about it.
Entering Corneria City now.
Okay, so sometimes people try to draw lines between 2 separate events to make themselves feel better and try to make things make sense in their heads. I'm thinking she got fired probably because they are hiring people.
We don't know why.
We don't know why, but I think she got fired for some unrelated reason. She knew they were using AI to generate dialogue, and she made the connection. Like, oh, they replaced me midway through development with ChatGPT, when in fact they're saying they have a bunch more.
I think the truth lies in the middle on this one, because why would you hire a bunch of people if you're laying off people?
I'll line these guys up.
Unless there was a reason you got rid of them. So I think that it doesn't make sense to lie about it, because that's stupid to lie about. But I'm also like, I do think she's drawing conclusions.
That's why you shouldn't rush
so
a systems
I think
check.
the truth lies in the middle of this one.
Well, wait, it gets better.
Okay.
So this is an update from This Week in Video Games. This is Paul Tassi posted a clip of this. The article's out here. So this is the CEO, I guess, of Saber Interactive. Stella Who. Oh, it's weird because there's so many things that you can unpack here. Stella Who. I had to ask Claude, which is an AI, because I've never spoken to her or seen her. We have already said we're using AI for certain parts of the game, and we'll update the Steam page once we have finalized the feature set. Let me clarify that the entire story script, were it to win an award, would go to someone who can walk up on stage and receive it. It was always our intention to reveal this until Stella violated her confidentiality clause and revealed this before we were ready. Okay, so a couple things here.
Well, we didn't know who Stella was.
We had to use AI to find out who she was, but we didn't know who she was, but then she violated her confidentiality clause. And outed us.
Yeah, that seems like an awful contradiction there. But anyway.
We look at our use of AI in this particular game, which will be a lower price title as a plus for consumers. As far as Stella is concerned, she was replaced by someone more talented and terminated for a variety of reasons a few months later. From what I can gather, she enjoys controversy even more than I do. I would frankly, in retrospect, have been happy to replace her with AI. Oh my God, at least we'd be dealing with someone programmed to be honest. Holy fuck.
He's attributing it to that. It doesn't make sense they'd be hiring more people, so they probably got rid of her for other reasons, which is what I just said.
Holy shit.
That's what it happened.
Okay, so you want to know what I'm sorry, but this is like, I mean, It's blunt, but you know what? I think at this point, with the video game industry
Right.
collapsing in real time, these CEOs need to be fucking blunt, and they need to be. And Asha Sharma's being blunt. She's just like, "Hey, we gotta make money. It can't be subsidized."
Well, Paul Tassi in the comments and them are like, "Oh my God, this is terrible." And I'm like, "But she's out there lying." But it is weird, to be fair. We didn't know who she was, so I had to ask Claude. Maybe Claude said, but if it was an internal thing, I just don't see that they would. He had to look her up, and then when he saw, unless he saw it internally and been like, "Oh yeah, we fired her for these reasons," and we looked up.
Yeah.
Her thing. But it's just like I said. It's like you said she could attribute to that. I said that doesn't make sense to lie about it. But then if she's assuming that's why, it's also possible and very possible she got fired because she's a pain in the ass, and that's exactly what happened.
He just said the quiet part out loud, though. That's what they're all
Maybe
thinking.
they should start saying the quiet part out loud more often.
That's what they're all thinking about. You want to know why so many people are getting fired, and they're all hand-wringing. They're like, we don't understand it. Let's go to the GDC. Oh, if we can go because we're afraid of ICE. But let's go to the GDC in San Francisco and scream at the sky because we don't understand why
And
we're
yells
losing our
at
jobs.
cloud.
You're losing your jobs because there's not enough money coming in to pay your asses, and you're not pulling your own weight. You know,
Andross's armada. They
You
got
are,
the
you
drop
can start
on us.
pulling as much other people.
and that's just how it
Or
works.
you're a lower seniority or something like that.
Yeah, or I mean, you might be a nice person or whatever, but it sounds to me like she was, at least his point of view. I mean, we don't know the truth, right? We don't know the truth, but I mean, very seldom do CEOs say the quiet part out loud unless because they know they can be sued for that or whatever. But they're not even afraid anymore. They're like, you know what? She's a pain in the ass, and yeah, if I could have replaced her with AI, I would have. But she was only there for like a year.
But we did replace her with people that were more talented.
That were more talented, and they're saying they're hiring. So I don't know. I think what we're seeing in the video game industry right now is a massive shakeout, and AI is being used as an excuse. But what they're going to do is they're going to hire more qualified people. They're going to give them AI tools, and you're going to get more work out of one qualified person with AI tools than you would have, like 20 people that are gonna, go play with their rat in the yard and scream about, all the jobs that were lost because the games didn't sell. And that's what it comes down to. The games didn't sell. You cannot spend another $200, $300 million on a fucking game nobody's gonna fucking play and take 12 years to deliver it. I'm sorry, does that make me a dick? I don't fucking care.
Well, you tell everybody you're a dick.
I actually would tell them, I would actually make that as, I would actually do a video if it were me. And I'd be like, yeah, so here's where the bear shits in the woods. Here's why we did what we did. And that's business, baby. Moving on.
Neon used to be a bigger dick before I met him, because if I had met him in high school, we would not be here right now.
Yeah, well, you didn't have to work with me either when I was like, I used to run departments. I had to tell people flat out, like, you're not cutting it, you're not pulling your own weight, you gotta go. I mean, that's it. And they'd cry about it. And one girl had a mom.
You did feel bad, though.
I felt bad, but it's like it had to be done. My job was to streamline things, keep things running, and make money for the company. That was my job. If I want to keep my job, I had to make money for the company. And you don't do that by hiring people that are drained, that don't produce, right? So you have to cut people loose. You tell them why. You gotta get, but it's like these people, they all, the Marxists, they all think that they should just be given free money and they should have a job just because they want it. And they think that because one division of the company is overperforming, that money should be used to subsidize them underperforming. And that's not how it actually works. And, that's it. That's it. That's my spiel. Anyway, we gotta wrap it up.
Yes.
Totally subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.
Oh, lost time there. Bye, Sam. What's the story? What's the end?
So this is interesting. It looks like Paramount Skydance is actually willing to sell CNN to clinch the Warner Brothers merger.
Yeah, because let's be honest, that's what it's always about.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you go back a week even, David Ellison was like, the reason that California's Attorney General is being so ridiculous is because of CNN. He said they're going to try to claim otherwise. They're going to try to claim that it's hurting Hollywood. They're going to try to claim that's hurting movie theaters, even though the owners, the leadership of the 2 largest theater chains said, no, this is actually going to be good. It's going to hurt Hollywood, even though the DGA and IATSE want this to go through because they're looking at the job situation. They're like, hey, if Paramount pulls out of California, a lot of us are going to be out of work. Right?
What is that?
Yeah,
So-
but meanwhile, the WGA is having a hissy fit because they're trying to pull out of California, and they're like, it's just proving the
got moves
danger
they
of
never taught us
oversized
at the
power.
Academy,
This is
boss.
Paramount. This isn't Paramount Warner Brothers. And you can't tell every studio ever they can't leave California because you won't get your own way. And WGA likes to shoot themselves in the foot every other day. So here we go.
Yeah, so
I had to
then
do
we
it
got a story
slippy.
here. Barry Diller wants to buy CNN before they ruin it any further. So yeah, we'll have to look at this whole situation. I'm sure lots of people would love to own CNN, even though it's losing money.
Obviously.
It is a mouthpiece, and that's
Well, I'm
what
trying
it's
to
all
think of who
about.
would be able to buy it without, because a lot of these places that they'd want it to go to, it would be the same antitrust situation, if not worse. And the only one I could think of that they'd probably agree to is like Netflix or something, and that's who's going to get it originally. But go ahead, what you're saying?
No, I'm just like Netflix News. It could be they could change it to Netflix News
Okay,
Network. It
now,
could be the
here's the part.
It's like Cobra La. Like it's time for.
Said it again.
Wait for your own
But here's the thing that gets me. If them saying they get rid of CNN suddenly means that all these states would agree, the attorney generals of these states would agree, that would just mean that all their reasons were bogus bullshit, which we already knew, and they're flat out admitting it. So I don't know what they're kind of taking themselves the corner now, because if they say, okay, it's fine because CNN, then a lot of people that are from these states might be a little pissed that their tax dollars went to this just to stop CNN, because a bunch of blue states, people in charge of blue states are upset that their mouthpiece should be gone.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. I just think it's hilarious. I went out to the Daily Beast to see what they're whining about. CBS Nepo Baby owner called out on sucking up the Trump. They've got like all these anti-Ellison articles lately because they're like, oh my God, guys, you can have CNN and CBS. Oh my God, the world's ending.
The enemy corps is
Anyway.
Does
exposed.
anybody care what Daily Beast has to say? It's not super pickled.
No, their articles are crazy. The headlines are just
That was an
insane.
interception.
So let's talk about the situation.
Dang it,
Paramount,
man.
Skydance, and Warner, and CNN, and all that. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, rants. Guys, we'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
And it is Geeky Sparkle. She is going to say hello. There you go. And also, check it out. You've got about 2 weeks yet on her Halloween pins. We're doing another run of these by popular demand. A lot of people wanted these pins. We sold out last year. Check it out on Kickstarter. That would be Geeky Sparkles Retro Halloween Revenge glowing enamel pins. And yeah, they're beautiful pins. And also, I'm in the mix this year. So
Yes.
there you go. I'm a vampire. And I'm not going to say the thing. So don't
Yes,
worry.
don't say the thing.
All right. This is coming from Seeking Alpha. Paramount Skydance
Keep an eye
willing
on
to
your
sell
shield gauge.
CNN to clinch Warner Brothers merger. A CNN sale is on the table, according to the
you
chief
sure the
legal
Arlington can take
officer
this heat?
of Peace Guy,
I'd make some
which is seeking.
modifications to
They said
offset the
before that
extreme
he'd be willing
temperature.
to sell if that was the
We'll be
problem.
okay as
He said
long as our
before he
shields
would.
hold.
I don't think he
After
gives a
that,
shit.
we're cooked.
Like I think he's more
Sorry I
interested in saving Hollywood, and even though they're trying to fight him on this one, but yeah, I don't blame him one bit. They're trying to make it as difficult as possible for him to do business in the state of California. I would
There's no way your
leave
ship
too.
can handle this.
Yeah,
I would
and
threaten
then,
not
and
to.
then the
My shields will
WGA
hold
being
long
like,
enough
this
for
is
me to
too
pay
much
you back.
power. I'm like, WGA, who holds everybody hostage, who thought they were all clever
My
and
shields
held,
are depleted.
Hollywood hostage for their
Keep fighting
strikes,
the good
and
fight,
then it
boss.
bit him in the ass. And then
Yeah.
folded like, a cheap chair last time that they had to be like, well, you give us a 4-year deal or nothing. I don't think they have anything to say shit.
So this would be the chief legal counsels at Makan Belrahim. He made the comments at Politico's California Agenda Conference, saying a potential deal would be in the cards if it would make a lingering antitrust lawsuit go away. I wouldn't have even offered that. I wouldn't have offered it.
No, but they know that that's not their priority. Their priority is Warner Brothers, and
Yeah,
so
I
if
got
they
you,
have to
Slippy.
get CNN to do it, they
Thanks.
will. I mean,
I was
we
sweating
wouldn't
it.
because we'd be like just like a few people, but at the end of the day, this is about people's jobs and livelihood, things being on pause. They need to move forward, and they can't. It's going to cost them billions of dollars if they don't. So, get rid of CNN, and that's one less headache. Because no matter what they do to
Supplies
CNN, they're going to get
deployed.
screaming and screeching banshees about it.
Yeah, the thing is, CNN can't survive on its own. CNN is in a bad place right now. They're bleeding out money. They're like, it would take a Netflix or something to be able to bankroll, and that's it. It would. You want to talk about nepo baby? CNN will be a nepo baby for some corporation that just wants to make sure that the news they want gets on the air.
Yeah, but I'm so mad about different tech companies owning it. They'd have no problem, owning Warner Brothers. They'd have no problem with it
There's
if
our
it was
target.
somebody buying
It's even
CNN.
uglier up close.
If Netflix,
I've never
just
seen
hypothetically
anything
speaking,
like
if
it.
Netflix bought CNN,
Bioscan
then
data
Netflix at that
coming your
point
way now.
becomes basically a broadcast thing, right? Or would they just like paywall CNN? Like, oh, if you want your CNN, you're gonna have to pay for Netflix.
I don't. Oh, that's what I think. I mean, they would make it part of their. I'm not saying they're interested and they buy it, but that's the only part I could think of. The only out their studio, because most of the other ones already have, the news networks and stuff with it too.
Yeah.
So I mean, the people they'd want to buy it, I don't know if they can.
Oh God, YouTube would buy it.
YouTube, well, you know what? But but they can YouTube because there's so many news things on
Going
YouTube
on.
already.
Watch those
I think
legs.
it'd be funny because then they could just be like, no, what they would do is, just hypothetically speaking, if YouTube would buy it, right, and they have their own news network or whatever, at that point it's like, yeah, you definitely are, studio, broadcast, whatever. But they'd just be like, hey, yeah, all you on-air personalities, yeah, you're gonna have to live stream for super chats. You're gonna have to jiggle your tits.
That's like,
Nice.
they won't do it for news, but they'll be like, we'll pick some of them. You can be the news anchors on here.
You can be the yeah.
Let's
Who else
fix
could
the
buy? Amazon
voice.
probably could.
Oh no, but they would hate that because Jeff Bezos is the devil because look at what he did to the Washington Post. That'd be kind of funny
That's
though.
true, yeah. But I mean, I'm just saying though, Amazon though, I don't think they have any cable, type news networks. Do they? I don't know.
No, Barry Diller said he wanted to buy it. This is a couple months ago. He said they wanted to buy it before they ruined it any further. Hopefully before it's extinct. Yeah, CNN is dying. So it's like, I mean, honestly, from a purely business perspective, I would look at all the things that I was going to potentially acquire
good
and be
traction.
like, CNN is bleeding money. I don't give a shit. If that's what the problem is,
I think that's what they're thinking. They're like, that's not what we're focused on. So fine, you can have CNN.
Landmaster
But
deployed.
if they suddenly
Talk me through it,
agree to
Slippy.
that and they
It
stop the
boosts and
lawsuit,
rolls, just
they'll say
like
it's
the
because of
Army.
all the other
And
people.
others too.
But if they suddenly say yes when CNN is being sold is the option, then
Brain
you
is in
know
my
right there
sights.
that it was always about
Let's do some
CNN.
damage.
And if I were
This train
a
doesn't stop
person
for
that was
Here you
someone who
go.
lived in the States that were spending all this tax dollars on this idiocy, I'd be super pissed.
yeah,
Ah,
not just
see, they're
pissed,
not taking
but
me
super
seriously.
pissed.
That's right.
Because they want
company up
Superman,
here.
so they're going to be super pissed. So this is the same lawyer that basically said that leaving the state was on the table. He said there's a point at which where you have a duty of fiduciary
Sorry.
duty to your shareholders, and those are factors you consider. If I were governor, I wouldn't want to lose Hollywood from the state. I wouldn't want to lose a major company like Paramount to another state. It isn't a blackmail attempt. You go where you're wanted.
Yeah, that's bullshit. So no studio could ever leave Hollywood. If it behooves them, if it doesn't, but if it benefits them to do so, you're never allowed to leave Hollywood because they own you in some way. And it's like, no, if you own the company and you want to move it, they don't get to tell you you can't.
No. This is also comes from Deadline WGA, so this would be the Writers Guild. It says David Ellison's threat that Paramount will leave California over the Attorney General's antitrust lawsuit proves the danger of its outsized power.
Paramount's tiny. Paramount Skynet isn't that big.
No. And even combined, they're not as big as a Disney or a
They've
Netflix
singled
or
me
anything
out.
like that, right? But this is the WGA. And basically, the WGA is like that. Like, we don't want this guy in charge
That's what it's about.
us because, if he does, just hypothetically speaking, if he would move everything out of state, does that
What's wrong?
reset the union?
I
deal?
don't know how that
Would he be
works.
like, I'm not working with union writers because it's a California thing and they're paying the ass? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either, but I know he wanted to keep it. I think he wanted to keep it there, and he was one that was out there trying to work with like the government, Congress, and stuff, trying to get more money to keep the jobs in Hollywood. So that makes sense why IATSE and stuff are like backing it up, because he's been out there trying to keep their jobs. Meanwhile, the other studios are sending them overseas.
You should be like, hey, Chat GPT, you're now allowed to unionize. You know? But yeah, this is what they said. By threatening to leave the state because it doesn't want the government to enforce the law, Paramount.
It's not the law. It's already been approved. You
It's
guys
already
keep
been approved by everybody.
this.
Maybe we can divert the train.
They keep repeating things that are clearly, provably false, and they keep repeating them over and over again as if they keep saying it, it's going to make it fact. They kept
Supplies
doing this shit
deployed.
during the strikes too. Just because you keep saying it doesn't mean that it's true.
Expect to have to use this.
Yeah, there were people jumping in the comments in the last video. It's like, they're breaking the law. I'm like, which law? Which laws are being broken? They're basically stalling it out to examine it or whatever. It's like, no. This is,
I mean, I would
Coming
argue
your
that
way
these
now.
attorney generals are trying to blackmail and extort.
I would counter it if you're like, you know what? I don't want to sell CNN, but they're basically forcing me to make a business decision I don't want to make because they're having a temper tantrum about it.
They're blackmailing to try to get me to do what they want.
Great shooting,
Yeah.
Fox.
So this the Paramount
saved
further
7
proves the
seconds.
danger of its
Yeah.
outsized power over the industry and what that will mean for writers and the creative community. It means ChatGPT. This type of behavior is precisely why the merger should be blocked.
What huge amount of, I thought, you know, this is Paramount, you know, by Warner Brothers, why does it matter?
Yeah, right. The WGA is suing to block the merger. That lawsuit filed jointly by the WGA East and West in the Northern District of California seeks to stop the $110 billion acquisition on the grounds it violates federal antitrust law and would cause specific harm. It already sailed through the Fed.
They've already
Alright.
proved that that's not true.
Yeah, it already sailed through. I mean, there's so many things. I think they know they don't
And
really
other
have.
countries
through
too. You
that
can't just
force
say, oh, it's because they're bought off by Trump. Other countries said it was okay too.
Yeah, they all said it was okay. They said the only hang-up, if I remember correctly, the only hang-up they had was that they couldn't change the theatrical distribution. Then they kept moving the goalposts. They're like, well, the theater chain owners are going to be real upset because it's got, and they're all like, no, we're good with it. Just, you know, let's get this over with. Because it's inevitable. I mean, the longer you drag it out, the more people are going to lose work in Hollywood because they're not going to greenlight stuff until the dust has settled.
Well, that's what the DGA and the IATSE are saying. They're saying that they support, you know, him buying it because it's causing shows and movies and stuff to be postponed or canceled. In the situation, it's costing jobs dragging it out. The longer it drags out, the worse it's going to be for their members because it is costing jobs. So what the Writers Guild is trying to argue, it's going to cost jobs. The other two unions are already saying it already is costing jobs because of this idiocy.
Yeah, so again, the DGA is the Directors Guild, IATSE is the old, basically the below the line workers, the people that make it go, and they've been decimated. I mean, in the last couple of years, like so
They
many.
got their asses kicked because the WGA is bullshit.
The WGA,
And
the
SAG-AFTRA.
the double strikes killed
My remaining time
I mean,
saved
the pandemic, yeah, that was definitely the first blow. But the double strikes killed production. There are so many people that are no longer working in Hollywood now. A lot of these people, they had no dog in the fight. They were just like, you know, lighting techs or, you know, construction people or, you know, just everyday people working on these shows. And there are people that have been working in Hollywood for decades. And they've had to leave the state. They're on the verge of losing their homes. They've had to change careers. I mean, it just collapsed Hollywood, and it comes mostly. I'd say the writers. I'd say the writers are the biggest holdups because they were the ones with double strikes too. They're like, well, we need 12 writers in the writers' room, and they have to be
20 or something.
or 20,
Some ridiculous
20,
amount.
20 people to write a 6-episode Netflix series. You can't replace these with the chatbot. It's like, no, actually, they can replace Fred Heath with the chatbot. You know, given the output of a lot of these people, I'm just saying. Anyway, they said, while we have been consistent in our view that mergers such as this one historically offer few benefits to workers, we are also particularly concerned about the negative impact
Skipping
and delay
27.
in the decision regarding the proposed merger will have on our members and the industry at large. The two unions work together. So this is like union civil war here. Because we got the WGA. Now, SAG-AFTRA is staying out of it
So far.
so far.
But a lot of the actors in, you know, in SAG-AFTRA have already been out there screaming about it.
Yeah, yeah. But there is no
I
other
think we made
alternative,
'em
right?
mad.
It's like it's either Warner Brothers gets sold or it gets sold for scrap. I mean, that's it. The letter puts two unions at odds with the Writers Guild, which filed its own antitrust suit to block the merger. The antitrust case has created other divisions within the industry, as both Regal and AMC have endorsed the merger, while the theater trade group Cinema United opposes it. But the owners of Regal and AMC, which have the most to lose, by the way, and AMC almost went bankrupt, I think, during the pandemic. And they're like, no, this is good. This is good. Somebody with money can actually give us some movies that are going to make us money. So this is Bonta, who is the Attorney General of California.
Who also helped take Spirit Airlines down, apparently.
Yes, apparently he was, he was all pro, like, don't let this merger go through, and then the merger didn't go through, and Spirit Airlines collapsed. So just picture Warner Brothers being Spirit Airlines, okay? If this doesn't happen, if nobody buys Warner Brothers, if they're just gonna rip the company apart and sell pieces off to different buyers, and that's it. Warner Brothers, as we've known it, will cease to be. Bonta led a coalition of 12 states to sue to block the merger in July, arguing that the deal creates a legal consolidation in the basic cable and theatrical distribution markets. Well,
Sorry.
when the two largest theater chains were like, no, we're good with this, you know, you don't really have much of a case. So the judge issued a temporary restraining order to pause the deal in last week's March 2nd trial date, 4 months later than the preferred schedule. Again, to run them out of money, to punish them for daring to go against.
Because again, March 2nd is only a couple days before the cutoff for the deal was supposed to end, and then the court was supposed to take 12 days, so they get one extension. So they took them until June, and they could run them out till then in some other way, and then it's going to be a complete collapse of Warner Brothers. But you know, for whatever reason, they don't care because they keep arguing it's about these things that are provably false.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, I mean, all the stuff, all the concerns they had, other than CNN, seem to have been addressed. Because Ellison's like, oh, I will even put in writing that we're going to release 30 movies a year with a 45-day window. If that will get things through. He put an op-ed piece in the New York Times saying that he loves Hollywood. He's made lots of movies already with Skydance before they bought Paramount, and he wants to keep Hollywood going. But also, you know, they're fucking with him. It wasn't like he was going to buy it. Like, he had no plans to buy it and move it. They're forcing his hand. It's just like they did with Elon Musk. He wouldn't play ball, so he's like, fine, I'm taking Tesla, and I'm taking Twitter, and I'm going to Texas. And that's it.
Well, it's bad enough that the governor, you know, Newsom doesn't want it to them to leave. He doesn't. He wants them to knock it off. Like, all you were telling this dumbass to knock it off, and he just won't knock it off.
Yeah, that's crazy. When you've got the Directors Guild, you've got IATSE, and those guys are usually the most affected by this, because that's where the majority of jobs are. The blue-collar jobs.
I'd say IATSE is the one that's the bigger one that has the majority of the jobs.
Yeah, because I mean, you see your actors, you see your writers, whatever, your directors. But that's a handful of people that are, you know, when those credits roll for 5 minutes at the end of a movie, right? It's like, okay, you get past Tom Holland and all the other people in the Spider-Man movies. Well, all those other people, they're the ones who actually make it go. And those people are looking at unemployment if you know, he does move it out of state, or if they just stop greenlighting.
Well, yeah, and all these films are being sent overseas, and they're the ones who keep losing their jobs to overseas people, which I thought was very funny when you had Benedict Wong, Benedict Cumberbatch, and the other idiot was going out there and being like, well, okay, you need to stop this because it's going to cost jobs. No, it isn't. You need to. It's going to. Well, if it's going to cost jobs for them, I guess that if they want it stopped because it's going to cost jobs for them, because he's trying to keep it in Hollywood where the jobs belong.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's it.
Nice.
US at least, or
10
US
seconds.
We've covered this at length that so many people in Hollywood are unemployed, and I feel bad for the people who don't have any control over it. Right, because you always see the people at the top, at the union level or the studio level, making all these decisions.
But the celebrities sitting out there screaming, you know, and having a hissy fit.
Right, and it's like, okay, well, one celebrity could tank a movie or the potential for a sequel or a series pickup, and there could be like hundreds of people out of work because of that, or thousands of people.
Also Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, Rachel Zegler probably cost so many people jobs. Yeah, it's unreal, because at that point, studios gonna be like, yeah, this movie lost money. We're not going to make this or that or whatever. We're not going to do a sequel. We're not going to continue the series because nobody watched it because the star shot their mouth off. And then everybody else that worked on that show's out of work. So, like, I mean, if I were these people, I would go after the stars and be like, shut your fucking mouth. I would like to continue to work. Thank you. Just
Well, they
shut
don't.
your
Exactly.
First of all, they don't give a shit. They're leaked.
Yeah, I know, right? And they're getting paid. They're probably getting paid as much as like 200 people working below the line. Yeah, so it's like, anyway. So the letter
Tremendous
continues.
work,
As
Star
our
Fox.
members struggle
The
to
Lilac
find
system owes you a
employment, the
significant
uncertainty
debt of
surrounding the
gratitude.
proposed merger is only making
Not
matters worse.
just gratitude,
We are
General.
aware productions
I'm
that have
sending
been
the
put
bill
on
over
hold or
now.
canceled
Nice to do
altogether,
business with you.
leading to further reductions in
takes
available
some of the
work for
sting
our
off.
members and other industry
really have to
workers. Yeah,
snag all
because they're
the
not going to
glory for
greenlight
yourself,
anything if they don't know
Fox.
who,
Come on,
who's going to own the
Falco.
company,
We
right?
helped save the entire
So
system.
everything's in a state of
war's
flux right
finally
now.
over.
So I can
Yeah,
almost guarantee you, like what you're seeing from Warner Brothers right now, these were things that were greenlit a couple of years ago. Even James Gunn's stuff. Like this stuff was
What?
greenlit, was already approved.
Everything okay?
Do I think
I
they
don't know,
would
Peppy.
greenlight another James
I've got
Gunn
this funny
DC project right now?
Like
No,
it isn't over.
I do not.
Like
In fact, they're
maybe we
canceling some
played
of the
right
stuff
into
anyway.
Andross's hands.
And my gut on this is when he's done with Man of Tomorrow, which I do not think is going to do fantastic. I think it's going to do okay. He's going to be done. I don't know if Snyder's coming back, but I think he'll be done. It said the letter urges two sides to agree on conditions, many of which Paramount has already agreed to, such as the maintenance of the two studios as separate entities that will each produce at least 15 films a year. The unions also suggest that Paramount commit to continue licensing content from outside production companies at the same rate as before the merger. If the states and Paramount cannot reach a deal, the unions urge them both to agree to an earlier trial date. Well, yeah, if they go to trial, they know they're
One breath.
cooked. That's it, because I don't think they have a case. This is all about just stalling
They're
things
not going
out.
to do that. Yeah.
However, while Paramount has been eager for an accelerated timeline, the states asked the judge for a time to depose Paramount executives and obtain documents in order to bolster their case.